Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well. Welcome to another episode of DevOps with Zach. I'm Arshad Zakaria, and today I have Dilan Jaisekar to talk about DevOps for data science. He's a data engineer at Pitcher Partners Australia and an awesome blogger as well. So let's get started. Hi, Dilan. How was your Saturday?
Hey Zach, it's a bit sunny in Melbourne, right? Well, it's so far so good. How about Singapore?
Singapore's so sunny. It's very hard to say. It's very unpredictable.
It's
They
unpredictable,
keep
right?
changing. Yes, yes. Sometimes it's raining, sometimes sunny. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Now it's pretty warm. It's good. It's good.
That's
So
awesome.
it's today's very. I'm really excited to have you here because it's a very new topic, like how data science and DevOps
Yeah, I
collaboration
know.
work together. So
It's
yes,
an
let's get
unusual
started, right?
combination, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome combination. So I'm really excited to have you here, and it's a very excited about this topic.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
before starting, before we go to the DevOps and data science, can you brief what is data science? Everyone talking data science.
Mhm.
So can you tell the audience what is data science?
Yeah, sure thing, man. Yeah. So to explain the term data science, let me first walk you through a small example, right? So I think in that
Yeah,
way,
that's much better. Yeah.
yeah, in that way, I think it'll be a good foundation for the rest of the conversation, and
Correct.
it'll be easier for the audience to follow and understand this whole concept of data science as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine yourself, Zach, waking up in the morning, let's say at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, if you are a morning person, and what's the
Okay.
first thing that you're gonna do, right? I mean, we all can admit that we will look at our phone, right? It
Yes.
could be to turn off the alarm, to check the notification, to
Yep.
check if that person liked or commented on that photo you posted yesterday. I mean, it can be any reason, right?
Correct.
But
Correct. Yeah.
my point being is that you picking up your phone, and that's the first record of data you generate for the rest of the day, right? So imagine a
Wow. Yeah.
single empty table that has name, IMI number, location, and pickup time. So the name is SAC, IMI number, whatever that is, and the location Singapore, pickup time is 6:02 a.m. All right. So since that record, you switch to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, email, and then if you are working, when you're going into your work, when you commute, you must be listening to a podcast or music. So these are all data that you generate for the day, right? And then you might be doing some Google searches or shopping on Amazon, eBay, online shopping, everywhere, right? So just imagine how many and how much of data that you generate just for one day.
Well, it should be
Sometimes,
millions, right? Thousands,
yeah,
millions. Yes.
yeah. Most of the time it increased 1 GB per one person. Because I know that, Australia as a
Wow.
nation, we generate like millions of terabytes of data within one day, just one day, man, right? So the thing is that now everyone is like collect everyone is generating this data, and there's this whole big data concept in the world. And the question is that how do we get the most out of this data? As an individual, there's no much used, to get the data and do analysis of on our own. But for the businesses, they can use this data, and then they can convert this data into useful information. So this is where I come into your question now again. This is what data science is. Data science is the field of study that combine all the domain expertise, programming skills, and knowledge of mathematics and statistics to extract meaningful insights from data, right? So it's a basic process of converting raw data into useful information. So that's data scientist. And also, I'm just going to explain two more things if I have
Okay.
time, Zach.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so data analytics and data science, they have two basic components. One is descriptive analytics, which tells you what happened in the past. Like, for example, let's say that you're running a business, right? And
Yep.
you have, let's say, 5 years worth of data, the historical data. And then you wanted to know how your store performed last December, last Christmas, and then maybe you wanted to compare your sales, your revenue of 2019 December to 2020 December, and if the sales were increased, and if it was increased, why it was increased, what are the drivers behind the sales. I mean, it could be like, a new product that you launched on 2020 December. So things like that. So this is what we call descriptive analytics. It tells you what happened in the past. And the next thing is predictive analytics. This predict what is most likely to happen in the future. So for example, a data scientist can do, uh, he can analyze the past 5 years of data, and then, like, the most obvious one is that if we have sales data, we know that there's a direct correlation between quantity and sales revenue, right? If the quantity is going up, then your sales and your profit is going also up. But the thing that you don't know is that maybe your customers, maybe for example, I'm saying this, all right, maybe the customers of age
Mhm.
group between 18 to 20 of male, maybe they are tend to buy your products more often. Maybe you don't know that, like, right? So to extract that information, you need data science. So that's why I'm saying, like, data science, they practitioners, they can apply machine learning algorithms to numbers, text, images, videos, audios, and more to produce all the artificial intelligence AI systems to perform tasks that normally ordinary require human intelligence. So in return, these systems, they generate insights, and which analysts and business users, they can translate into tangible business value. So yeah, I hope I didn't confuse or took so much
No,
time
no,
for
it's
explaining
very
this.
very clear. Thank you very much. It's even it's very, you gave like good example that I really like it, that wake up. I was
Yeah,
thinking,
I
yes,
thought.
I was feeding the
Yeah.
data. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
yeah, I would like to add something as well there. Like there's thing called AI ops.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
machine learning and big data, we have been used for the observability and the incidents. Like if any metrics and past incidents, it can predict the predict and run automations for
Yeah.
the infrastructure and the other related stuff in DevOps. Like we can automate using, like you said, like a predictions. So that's
Prediction
one of
analytics.
the
Yeah.
topic we can talk separately another day, hopefully. Uh,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
yeah. So my main question, like, okay, the DevOps can help with data science. What do you think? Really, like the DevOps culture, the practice, and the culture, practice, the process, and
Hmm.
the tools. You
Yeah,
think
exactly.
that the entire DevOps can help the data science?
Hmm. That's a great question, Zach. Well, first of all, I'm not going to define DevOps here because in early episodes I saw, like, so I saw Nilesh, Shehan, and Kanchan, and yourself, Zach, like, covered it the best way possible. So I'll talk about DevOps for data science, right? So in my opinion, like, DevOps in data science, if you manage to get it right, it's good, and you just do it. Incredible, it's fun, but it's really hard, and it's not something that's super easy, so you won't get that many people doing this. That's why there's not much DevOps in data science, all right?
Okay.
And the thing is that people normally, like data scientists, they normally do this data science stuff in a more ad hoc way, right? So there's not really a process for delivering it. That's because data scientists are not really software engineers. You can't expect a data scientist to use software engineering best practices, all right? For example, a data scientist should focus on just what they are good at: analyzing data, predicting, and machine learning, and only on developing advanced analytics models. And bringing advanced analytic models to production and operating a model running in production is not part of their formal job role at all.
Yeah.
That's not their formal role in the organization. The skills for both of these activities, they are also very limited for the average data scientist. And this is where DevOps come into play. This is how DevOps engineers, they can bridge the gap between data science and productionizing BI dashboards, advanced analytical and machine learning models, and everything. So this is the gap that has in data science.
Yeah. So like I mentioned before, so you're mainly saying that the collaboration, right? So
Yeah,
with the DevOps team and the other teams, like you said that yeah, you had to focus on mainly on these modules and your
yeah,
data
exactly.
science stuff. But yes, collaboration with other teams,
Hmm.
you can it will help you to improve. I mean, like focus on only on your part of the job, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's
Definitely.
that's basically, yes, that's where the DevOps comes. So for helping everyone, I believe like we can apply for any scenario. Seems like, so
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
it's possible. So yeah, so I think you also face a lot of issues in that. So end of the session, I believe that if any other data scientist those who
Mm.
are willing to come to this journey, or they're joining to this field, would help this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely. We would explain that as well.
yes, correct. So how do you think this gap and the need for DevOps in the data science was created in the first place?
Yeah, so that was a great question, Zach. Well, you know how this gap was created in the first place? Well, I'm not 100% sure of this statement, all right, but this is just my
Fine.
personal opinion, which
Yeah,
most
yeah. You
people
can
would
share your
agree on.
opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, so what happened and what went wrong at some point in the past is that I remember data science was labeled as the sexiest job in the 21st century, like, 7, 8 years ago. And as soon as that news went viral, all the firms, the companies, they heard it and they just wanted to start their own data and analytics departments, probably without thinking, what the hell are they doing? Right? And then now it's getting to a point where they established a team for a few years and they are working on what's the return of investment now. And I guess the problem really comes from where you have started, like the thing that you have started. The thing is, your data scientists, they are super smart guys with masters and PhDs, and they are super skilled at building machine learning models and advanced analytics. But the problem is that they are not skilled as software developers. And that's when the question first arose. Also, another thing I want to mention, we know that we can break down DevOps into core principles, right, Zach? So even just
Correct.
the
Yeah. Yeah. Can.
basic, yeah, even just the basics ones like source controlling your code, and you will
Yep.
be really surprised how many data scientists actually source control their code, because
Wow.
there's not many, Zach, like not many at all right, you'll be really surprised. And it's not because they are doing a bad job, because could be some of the platforms they work on, they are not super easy to source control. For example, if we take Jupyter notebooks, they are not the easiest to source control, but yeah, I mean, it's quite tricky, and yet there are still ways to make that possible. But it's a bit difficult because it's not one single script, and again, the thing I wanted to mention is that data science is, it's not ad hoc static delivery projects always. Data scientists building out predictive modeling, but they use data and the data refreshes, so they have to have that agile development life cycle in data science as well. It can't be just a waterfall model. So yeah, I think that answers your question about how come this gap created in the first place. That's because they thought about starting a data science team, but they didn't thought about how do we, actually productionize this. And when the technology is getting increased, when the time goes on, how do we actually, keep that? How do we maintain this? How do we face the challenges without a development, that technical guys, without a technical guys, how do we face our future? So that's how all this gap was created in the first place.
Wow, that's a really big gap. So I
Yeah, I
think
know,
the
right?
DevOps is the best solution that
It
can
is.
fulfill these the gaps and make the collaboration. So basically, when it comes to DevOps, personally I don't like to call as a DevOps engineers. I always mention
Hmm.
because it's not one person work, like you said.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
collaboration. But I think I feel like the data scientist kind of alienated, or like kind of isolated.
Yeah, no,
Very
that's exactly true. The thing
yes
that we want to
person.
do is, yeah, we want to, sit in a same room together, the DevOps, data scientists, programmers, and they need to discuss, how do we fix this problem? Because
Correct.
there's that this massive gap is still there, and I'm sure that that gap will be, it will be there for a few years of a time,
Yes.
like,
So
because
so
we
uh,
need,
so
yeah,
then
we
you
need,
can focus only on your modules, and you can think, because
exactly,
should definitely need a brainy, right? Because you're writing those modules and it's not easy work. Like you said,
exactly,
that the Jupyter notebooks. Yeah, I don't have much experience on that, but I have done some homework and some participated in some sessions in AWS, like SageMaker.
yeah,
So I have done few work with few of these notebooks, and I have AWS the deep lane. So tried few of
yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
modules and try to do some stuff.
Oh, that
Yes.
sounds awesome.
Yeah. I think it needs to be happen like the collaboration with other teams. So then I believe you can fulfill, because when it comes to Git, there are a lot of good practices. I'm planning to do another
Yeah,
separate session for that,
yeah, that's
because
what we want to do.
yeah,
I think that
because
that's where we want to start in the first place. That
correct, correct, correct.
we want the data science to the like just train them of how to use Git. If you have existing projects, like how do you Git this? Like that's the first step. Start from that, and then we can talk about DevOps.
Yes, yes. We will plan to do one of that. I think it will be really good,
Yeah,
because main reasons of these podcasts are for learning, right? Because we all are not like superheroes.
absolutely,
Yeah, we
absolutely.
have we all do mistakes, and yeah, that's the main first thing. So even though doing this podcast, I learn a lot of things. Yesterday with Kanchana, I learned a lot of things. It was a really good podcast as well. So this one is really awesome because it's very rare topic. Everyone is talking.
Hmm.
So yeah, so let's go ahead with the. I have a lot of things to ask you, so please, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right, all good, man. Yeah, just go ahead, shoot.
Yes, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, so don't worry. So Dylan, you mentioned ML modules, the machine learning models you deploy.
Yep.
Is it also evolving process?
Hmm.
It's pretty much same to the normal SDLC, the software development life cycle as well.
Yeah, so what I mentioned earlier was that data scientists are building out predictive models and things like that. They want the data to refresh, right? Keep refresh. So you have to have that agile development cycle. So it
Okay.
can't be just a waterfall model. So let's say that, for example, even though you deployed a model last week, how do you ensure that model is still accurate this week? Because the model you trained at the time hopefully can be accurate at that time, but the next day, is it still reflecting the reality? Because in terms of how much your business changed, how much your problem domain changed, and if any of those were to happen, then it could mean that there's no longer reflective reality anymore. That means your machine learning model is a failure. It that like there's no accuracy now. So you have to have that keep checking back to make sure that the predictions that you are making and your confidence levels, they make sense, right? So that's how you do the machine learning models. You train the set, and then there's the result set that should increase a x number of accuracy,
So mainly
right?
the accuracy, right? If it's percent,
Yeah,
99%, for example. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. So
yeah,
you want to let's get a cat. Okay,
yeah,
the cat
yeah,
is you scanning the cats.
yeah,
Like you have to keep feed the model to scan the cat images, like different
yeah,
breeds.
yeah,
There are
potential,
thousands
yeah,
of breeds, right? There are different
yeah,
breeds, different sizes, and
yeah.
different angles. Yeah, then your model should be able to capture and say this. Okay, this is 99%. This is a cat.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's
Okay,
say
okay,
that, yeah. So depending on your business requirement, let's say that we need to be 85% accurate saying that this is a cat, right? And
okay.
if your accuracy or the stats that you get, the things, if the things drop below that threshold, then you have to do a data refresh and see what's happening, or a model refresh, or fine tune the algorithm that you're using, or consider selecting a different algorithm. So in time to time the data could be changing, the your business domain can could be changing, or the requirement could be changing. So you have to have that agile life cycle here. So placing those checks to make sure your data engineering process is documented, and with the threshold don't the threshold don't drop below, and there should be a good orchestration for the whole process, and that's how you make it whole. So yeah, this is an evolving process. It's not just a static delivery. Data science was static delivery like 10 years ago, but now it's not just static delivery, it's a continuous development. And data science need DevOps engineers. They just do. So in my opinion, DevOps and data engineers, they are the backbone of a good data science team.
So you need the best DevOps practices in data science as well, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yes, yes. That has to be done. I think because when it comes to DevOps, everyone thinks it's about
Mhm.
tools and it is Kubernetes, it is Docker. No, but
Yeah,
it's the like you said, the automations.
it's a culture.
Yeah, I did a podcast with it's a really awesome podcast with Shehan. We talk about automation. So we had to automate everything basically.
It is, man.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that's true. So, okay, let's say assume. So, I want to change my career. Okay, since you talk about data engineering DevOps, can
Nice.
a DevOps engineer change his career path to a data engineer? If yes, how
Yeah.
and what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, all right. So I invite you to join data science now, Zach. All right. So, yeah. So the funny thing is that sometimes this DevOps guy in a data science team can be your data engineer, right? So I'm gonna illustrate you something. So imagine a
Okay.
Venn diagram with three circles intersecting in the middle. So
Okay.
one circle is software engineering and your software development knowledge.
Okay.
Okay, and the other circle is your DevOps knowledge. All right, and the next circle is your data science knowledge. So when we intersect all these three in the middle, that's where you get your data engineer. All right.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that, like, personally, if I take my journey, I started my career as a software developer, and then I just kind of like took a U-turn, and I just turned into data science, and then I learned about all the machine learning and data science and all the data analytics, business
Uh,
intelligence, and everything.
it's okay. I
And
mean,
then
same here. I started as a software engineer as well. Yeah.
engineer as well, right? So yeah, my point being is that when you start from software engineering, and then it will be really easy, like like if we take you, Zach, for example, you have the software engineering experience and you have the DevOps experience, right? So you only now need to gather a few experience on data science, like just the major concepts. What is machine learning, like what does data scientist need? That's the thing that you have to, like get into your brain. So this is really easy for the DevOps engineers. Like if we take the opposite side, let's imagine that there's a third person in the room and he started his career as a data scientist. Okay. So to a data scientist to become a data engineer, it's really hard because he needs to learn about software engineering and DevOps as well. Right. So a data scientist, it's gonna be a hard job. But for DevOps engineers, to come into data science field, I think that's a really easy thing because DevOps is much needed in data science now. Like for example, let's say, like in a what's the word, multidisciplinary team that includes
Okay.
data
Yep.
scientists, BI engineers, data engineers. So the role of a data engineer is mostly to ensure the quality and availability of the data. So I'll come back to this in a bit when I'm talking about data pipelines. But like I think
Yep.
so. This is what needs to be done. Like data engineer, he should be the most technical guy in the team, and a DevOps engineer, a person who has DevOps knowledge, software engineering knowledge, your Ubuntu knowledge, and your Git, like all this knowledge. With that combination, you just have to learn a bit about data science, and you could be the best fit in any data science team, and you could be the backbone, and you could be the leading data engineer and DevOps in any data science team.
Oh, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
Now,
You can also take a U-turn from DevOps to data science, Zach. What do you think?
actually, to be honest, that yeah, as like the like a garage projects. What I do is like I'm more into because the Python is one of the languages like I like and day to day I'm using. So
Great.
you see these your pandas, numpy, those
Yeah.
libraries I have used before for those with the CSV data, not like a big things you're doing, but play with some CSV data.
Yeah.
Yes, so same time I love to learn new things like
Mhm.
evolve and evolve.
Yeah.
uh, so I tried these
Customizing.
yeah, so I got these deep lens and I tried different deploying different models and try, and this was really impressive.
Yeah.
And I'm planning to do this AWS deep racer. Yes, so let's see how things are going on.
Nice.
Yeah, it's I mean,
I
like
like the sounds of it.
yeah, I mean, like it is very interesting field because it's something new. Like it's kind of for me, it's you can play around with a lot of data because data is the new fuel, right? Because
Yeah, I
it's
know.
about all about money, and
Yeah, for
everyone
example,
talking
like
about data. Yeah.
yeah, I think like as my first example, like think of how many data there to generate for like not just one day, and imagine in like 2030 or 2025, like data will just like only increase, man. So the need of data and the need of analyzing data is just going to be like demanding higher and higher and higher. And when that demand is getting higher, we need DevOps and data engineers in a team. Without data engineers and DevOps, there won't be any data science. That is the
Because you have to deliver very, I mean, like a very
yeah,
fast delivery. So
yeah, that's the
exactly,
thing.
then DevOps should come there. Like
Exactly, because 10 years ago, it was just data science in a static delivery. Like, people would come, give them, like, these are my CSV files, do this, do the predictions, give me the results. That's it. But now this is 2021, like, everything needs to be automated. Like everything should need to be happen in a, like, in real time without zero downtime. So how do we do this? This is why we need DevOps engineers, because data scientists don't have that knowledge, and that's not their fault. They don't have to have that knowledge. We need to
because
teach them.
because you guys meant to focus on only for these writing the models, because it's very hard part to do, because that's
Yeah,
the main
exactly.
core.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the DevOps comes. Like before, where the DevOps term comes, like always there's a famous joke, like, okay, developers and programmers, they complain, okay, it's working on my computer, I don't care, I don't know whether it's working on this, the product server or not. The upstream then again saying, it's not working here, I don't we can't take your computer and host in the customer side, right?
Yeah, that's
So yeah, that's
universal
why we have
question.
these infrastructure automation, a lot of things as it comes to this DevOps process.
Hmm.
So when it comes to that, the pipeline, when the DevOps talking, like the famous term is a pipeline. Okay, CI/CD
Yeah, yeah,
pipeline.
yeah.
They call it pipeline. Okay, so
Hmm.
we my previous places we have created data pipelines.
Yeah,
So the normal when it comes to DevOps pipeline is kind of set of instructions. So it will there are steps. So for example, okay, if I do the first commit to this particular branch, it will trigger a build, and it will create the contain artifact. It will store in the artifact factory. Then it will when it comes want to deploy, before deploy it will scan for security, any
yeah,
vulnerabilities. Then it will deploy
yeah,
and monitor observability. Then again get the feedback. Again develop. That cycle is going, like it's kind of
yeah,
like infinity cycle.
yeah. True.
So the same, like the data pipelines, I've seen that data people are talking about data pipelines.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate about what is the data pipeline and how the things are like happening there?
Yeah. So I'm going to explain about data pipeline in a more like from my perspective, right? From a data engineer's perspective. So think of like, I'm just giving a bit of introduction here. So think of any pipe that receives like, something from a source and it carries to the destination. So what happens to the data along the way, like, within the pipe, it depends upon the business use case and the destination itself, right? So a data pipeline in data science, it may be a simple process of just data extraction and loading. For example, let me give you this, all right? Let's say I have a business, and let's say the business is I own a cinema, all right? I own a cinema, and I have the ticketing details in a vendor called A, and I have my cinemas food and beverage data in a vendor called B,
Okay.
and also let's say that my people, like, the staff, they wanted to do manually record something in Google Sheets. I know it's old school, but people still does that. So in Google Sheets as well. So what I wanted to do is that I'm creating this BI dashboard, or like this near real time BI dashboard. So I wanted to extract all this data into one place. So what I can do is that I'm giving this example related to AWS. Okay, so I can use AWS Lambda functions in Python to extract the data in vendor A, B using APIs. So I can put my Python code into Lambda functions and then schedule it to run, like, every day at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning to extract yesterday's data, and then I save them in a data lake. That my data lake in AWS could be my S3 bucket. All right. And then what I have to do is I need to create a synchronization between my S3 bucket data and my destination would be my data warehouse, which is in Amazon Redshift. So I need to create this combination. So to create that synchronization, I'm using AWS Glue catalog for the ETL process. Like, if I wanted to convert anything, like, that raw data into something, and then I will do that in AWS Glue. I will do the ETL process, and then I would save my data in AWS Redshift. So this is the simple example of processing of data extraction and loading. So it's just an example of ELT, extract, load, and transform. Or it may be designed to handle data in a more advanced manner, such as training data sets for machine learning. For example, let's say the same example. We're getting the data into S3 bucket, and then we can run our SageMaker notebooks to run the machine learning model. and then get the output, and then we can maybe save the results in a Redshift data warehouse. So my, let's say my BI dashboard is using Power BI. So Power BI can then read from Amazon Redshift in real time, and then Power BI can update, and we can visualize the data that we want. So in my opinion, so simply a data pipeline is a series of processes that migrate data from a source to destination database. So the above example is just a simple example of a data extraction, loading, transformation, and also a bit of advanced thing with machine learning. So yeah, so constructing data pipeline is the core responsibility of data engineering, I would say, and it requires a bit of programming skills to design the program for continuous and automated data exchange. And as this process is a bit complex, it's viable for organization whose products have found the market. So yeah, to pursue the further growth and stuff. So I think that's what data pipeline
Wow.
in data engineering.
It's
So
I feel like it's a lot of work, man. It's not
yeah.
easy. Yes, that's why, like, because we cannot judge a book by the cover, right? I always say so.
Yeah,
I
that's
believe
true.
we all do hard work. We cannot say, okay, software engineering is easy work. Like you just sitting on the table and chair, sorry, chair, and just you just keep coding. But it's not about that. The way of thinking, the process, the all process, it's not easy. Like you said, like uh, it's not hard. It's not easy. What I'm trying to say is like
Hmm.
we all do hard work. We all do
Yeah,
hard work.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good example you gave. It's really, really appreciate that, man. Thank you. So,
Yeah, that's good.
so how do you apply DevOps in data science?
How we apply DevOps in data science. All right, so I'm gonna give this example, right? I'm wrapping up a similar project with a colleague of mine at the moment, and
Okay.
the code was written in Python, and then build out all the infrastructure around that automatically. So they only focus on writing the module, the code, the model, and then they submit it to a source control, version control, which then picks up by. So this I just have to pause it. I just have to say that this is using Azure DevOps at the
Okay.
moment. All right. So yeah. So again, back to my explaining thing. What did I stop? Yeah. So let's say that he submitted to the source control, version
Yep.
control, and which then picks up by VSTS. It's now Azure ZLI, and then it wrapped up into a Docker image. The Docker image then deployed into a Docker container registry, and then it gets picked up and deployed into Kubernetes, and they need a REST API because they want to get the response of their model each time. So this is a thing that I have recently applied DevOps in data science, and this takes me back to a previous question you asked, Zach. When a
Okay.
DevOps when a DevOps said to a data science, let's say that you are the DevOps, and then you are telling me I'm the data scientist. You are telling me this, all right? You need to define a JSON schema for inputs and outputs. You need to kind of specialized a init.py and a run.py and package up your model in that way and put it into a Docker container. And when you say that, the data scientist will go like boom and like, what the hell are you saying, man? This is the gap. This is the gap. Most data scientists, when they finished an analysis or their assignment, they will come to you with a CSV saying, all right, these are my results. These are my results with predictions. But the real question is that how do I operationalize this, man? Like, how do I put this into an app? So that is the question. So this again circles back to the gap and then the need of DevOps in data science. So I strongly think it's time that we need to declare a data ops. And I strongly believe that starting from 2030 or something, data ops will be a separate job role. And yeah, you
I
can
think
land
it
on
would
that
be
job
like
role.
I think now ML op is there,
Exactly.
so AI op is there. So I think it will be very soon. It will happen. I think.
Yeah,
I don't think we have to wait till another 9 years for that.
yeah.
Anyways,
Maybe 2 3.
now the years are like the days are like very running very fast. It's almost end of the 2021. We are here already, almost there.
Yeah, yeah. Time flies, man. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So when you like before wrap it up, like we'll simply define that what is this DevOps and data science to the collaborations. Like okay,
Hmm.
the correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes,
So all the process you have in the data science, you want to focus only on your modules. So
yep,
you need the DevOps, the culture practices, the best practices, and the tools to
yep,
automate the make your life easier
yep,
and keep do the monitoring and like the DevOps cycle runs. So you want to
yes.
collaborate together, right?
Yes, exactly. Because yeah,
Okay.
we want, like, starting from the data extraction and then putting into a data lake, and then maybe, like, we need to tag the meta tags, and then we need to do some analysis on it. And at the moment, from the other side, our data scientists, like, they should be able to code within a source control, so we need DevOps here. And then whenever, like, when they finalize the model, it needs to be, like, deployed into SageMaker as well, and then SageMaker should pick that up and then run the model on it, and then get the final result set, save that in a Redshift database, and then that Redshift database will feed into our BI visualization tool. It could be Tableau, Power BI, anything. So yeah,
Okay,
so
so basically,
to
main
do
entire
everything.
process you need to collaborate with the DevOps culture and practices
Exactly.
skills.
Yeah, yeah. It is
Yes.
much needed, man.
And same time, I would like to say, like, I plan to do another episode. So now
Yeah.
we were talking about the DevOps for data science, right?
Yes.
So same way, the data can help with DevOps as well. It's called like, for example, AI ops, the machine
Yeah.
learning, big data for basically,
Uh-huh.
okay, how to say, like, okay, so even metrics and traces we have one
Uh-huh.
side, so historical analysis and anomaly detection, performance analysis.
Yep. Yep.
So those are there. And on the other side, the task automations and change risk analysis, the
Mm-hmm.
incidents, the knowledge managements are there. So
Yep.
collaborating those two, everything, we can do some actions. So
Mm-hmm.
automate some processes. Okay,
Yep.
using those things. So we'll do another session, separate one, how these AI ops
Yeah,
helps with the DevOps. Yes.
that'd be a
So
great topic, man. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, so anyways, you can understand now. It's mainly about the collaboration. It's not one person job. We
No, it
need
is not.
each
It is
other
not at
together.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for your time, Dylan. It's really, really appreciate
Yeah.
you
No,
shared a
thanks for.
lot nice, awesome content today. So, I'm planning to do a lot of stuff with you soon as I mean, like, in the future as well. So, thank you very much for joining with me today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zach. I mean, thanks for having me, and I hope the audience get something out of it, and
Definitely, definitely.
they know the DevOps and data science, the combination with it, and the correlation and the gap and everything. So yeah, yeah. Thanks again, man. Thanks for having me.
Okay, man. Cheers. Then have a
All
nice
right.
day.
Cheers, man. Yeah, you too.
Thank you, Dylan, for joining with us today. And if you would like to read the blog post of Dylan, please check the links in the description. I look forward to see you again with another episode of DevOps with Zach.